what bit of advice or service do you think is going to be would be really, really important?
I would say if you have the time before classes starts to go through some of the software that teachers are going to be using, such as do a practice Zoom session with maybe somebody else that's a friend of yours, go to the Zoom page that I sent you the link for in the chat feature, and do a practice session with maybe like a friend of yours that has a computer and a microphone and headset too. So do a practice session with Zoom. Go in ahead of time. Classes open a week, online classes open 1 week before the semester starts. So you have access to your courses a week ahead. And then the other thing I would say is, because I was a student at UB for my bachelor's degree years ago, sorry. But when I was a student, I would take and set up a calendar and just put in all of the different assignments for each of my courses. I even color coded them because, I'm a nerd. But have it all on there. And then if you're going to be doing writing assignments, or you have a project or a group project, make sure you add in some flexibility and figure things out. Calendaring is a very good way to keep up with your courses and also figure out what time frames you need, and it reduces the stress and the anxiety of being in school again after a period of time. I mean, between my bachelor's and my master's, I took a little bit of a break. So when I started my master's, I was like, oh my goodness, the stress the first semester. But then you go back to the calendaring, and it really does help. So I would just suggest doing practice and using your calendar, whether it's electronic or a paper calendar.
Shirley, what were your degree programs?
I was a history major at University of Baltimore, and I have my master's from Towson in instructional technologies.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Chris, do you have any advice for the new students?
This is sort of technology related, but more educational. Something I wish that I would have done later on, and I would know now going back to school, is reevaluate your learning style. And so for me, when I was in college, I always thought that I was a visual learner. And especially now with COVID and everything moving online and everything being digital, I would probably not do as well approaching that with that style with the online presence. And since then, I've learned that I'm actually better with audio. So audiobooks and podcasts, I can consume and retain a lot more information than with visual. And I never would have thought that. It wasn't until like kind of last year I discovered that. And I regret not knowing that during my college experience. So I think it's a really important time to evaluate that, especially now with the remote situation.
It's wonderful, wonderful advice, Chris. Wonderful advice to share. Well, if there are no more questions for our wonderful Office of Technology Services, they've got to get back to work, because there are several other students who need help and they've got to troubleshoot some things. So we're not going to keep them any longer than necessary. Thank you all so much again for taking time to support our new students, our newly admitted students to the College of Arts and Sciences. Make sure that you guys utilize the website underneath and troubleshoot on your own before reaching out to me or calling. But no, also make sure that you reach out and dial if you have an emergency. 410-837-MAMA. If you didn't learn anything else, that is the emergency number. 410-837-6262. Thank you all so much for joining us today for our CAS Campus Connections, and we appreciate you. And hopefully we'll see you next week as we offer and share our student, our Brittany. Brittany is here next week, and she's going to share more about different organizations that we have on campus and how you can become involved. So we'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you.
If you haven't enrolled, enroll now.
I think all of these wonderful students have already registered for their classes because they are all on top of it.
Yes,
I know it.
Excellent. Nice to see you all.
Welcome to UB.
Welcome to UB.
We're thrilled to have you.
Bye.